Assassin's Creed Valhalla first-paced story DLC Wrath of the Druids has arrived today, promising new lands, enemies and treasures to explore and conquer, but does it really deliver a refreshing experience, or is it just more of the same? Well, it's actually kind of both, and it has a few surprises along the way for new and veteran players of the game. Trying to keep this story as spoiler-free as possible, Wrath of the Druids takes Eivor to the not-so-distant land of Ireland, where he or she will be entangled in an obscure conflict with a mysterious druid cult named the Children of Danu. The story has a weird beat, starting a little bit slow, but oh boy, it sure builds up quite a momentum, especially in those closing 2 hours where there are twists and turns and a very unexpected surprise that closes the story after what felt like 8 hours. The new cast, the solid as ever voice acting, and the relationships that quickly build with Eivor will surely leave a good impression on everyone that buys this DLC just for the story. It is not on par with some of the most brilliant story arcs in the base game like the City of London or Jorvik, but sits comfortably in a good position to avoid being forgotten. I know some of you may be thinking, man, 8 hours sounds kinda short for a DLC, but don't worry, there are actually more, expanding to 13 to 15 hours if you're a completionist and want to clear every little blue, yellow, and white dot in the map. But the thing that I want to emphasize here is not the length of your gameplay session, but the quality of it, which I think is one of the biggest elephants in the room with Assassin's Creed games in the past few years. I'm not a big Assassin's Creed fan, I gotta be honest. In fact, Valhalla was my first game in the series, and I remember every time I sank 3 to 4 hours of a gaming session on the base game and then opened the freakingly huge map, I felt exhausted, like I suddenly was carrying a big fat barrel of meat that has gone bad. The map of England was completely daunting. It felt everlasting at times and not in a good way. But the great thing about Wrath of the Druids is that the map size is just perfect. As you complete the different story arcs, you will be introduced to new territories, and by the time the credits roll, you will have at least 70% of it unlocked, just like that. This feels even effortless at times when you tie it with the new trading mechanic introduced in the expansion that is kinda genius on how simple and useful it is at times. While exploring Ireland, Eivor will locate these trading posts, usually occupied by enemy forces, clean them up with her Nordic power, then do a little research in the place and in a nearby location, looking out for a deed that will enable commerce between that trade post with the city of Dublin. Once the commerce floodgates are open, every minute that passes in-game you will get a specific resource for free out of this trade post, which will be sent directly to your central trading hub back in Dublin and then handed in as part of a small quest deliveries that will give you rewards and cosmetics. And let me tell you, some of these rewards are really good, featuring some of the new gear sets and weapons that come with this expansion, like this awesome Egyptian sword that catches fire every time you hit a critical on an enemy, and this is now my new favorite weapon in the game. But there is another way that you can get more of these valuable resources while you do your traveling around Ireland: the Royal Demands, a series of short but sweet tasks that usually revolve around killing someone or stealing something from enemy camps. But the cool thing is that each and every one of those demands can have a bonus in case you complete additional objectives called the King's Plea. This made approaching each target less like a Neanderthal and be more strategic while trying to remain undetected, only killing the key targets in the mission, avoid taking damage, and let me tell you, I've spent 150 hours on the base game. This was the first time in the last 80 hours of playing Valhalla that I didn't see an enemy outpost, turn my kill everything that moves switch on, and go into an autopilot mode until I unlocked the treasure. The downside is that every now and then some of these King's Plea get a little bit ridiculous, like that time that they asked me to remain undetected and not take any damage during a raid. I mean, come on Ubisoft, please double check that. The thing that binds together the whole story and mechanics are the presence of the new enemy factions. And this is where the game caught me a little bit off guard, because I was expecting only the Druids to be the main antagonists, but you'll also encounter Irish soldiers, which are not only less exciting, totally generic and predictable, except for those Irish hounds, they are vicious. But let's go back to the Druids. Man, they are crazy. I only died a handful of times in my whole playthrough of the game, and most of these times were while trying to deal with the presence of this new enemy faction. Their influence in the story is always there, pulling the strings, lurking for the shadows, and it's Eivor's job to unmask the mystery behind this dangerous group. Once you enter the territory full of torches and effigies, the mood is set for what is coming. The Druids are relentless, attacking group, and all at once, they are full of tricks like this crazy weird green fog that gives you a debuff. They use animal companions, spit fire, and have more tricks under their sleeve that I will let you discover on your own, but they are really refreshing and challenging even if you are a new or a returning player. As a whole, Assassin's Creed Valhalla's Wrath of the Druids is more of the same, but has just the correct amount of spice added by those new trading mechanics, enemy factions, and story beats that make this a really enjoyable game. It is perfect for just a weekend or playing through in your spare time without feeling overwhelmed, and I hope a lot of the new stuff implemented here makes its way to the next entry in the series, as it feels like a quality of life upgrade that makes the game more enjoyable and less of a grind. Please let me know in the comment section what you think about this new game. Thank you for watching the review, and I'll see you later in the channel with more stuff for Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Wrath of the Druids.